Right now, I'm going to work on subject pronouns in Spanish. For Spanish 1, or really any Spanish, this is the most important chart. You need to memorize it or you're going to get really confused. First of all, you need to know that this is like a highway in between. Everything on this side is singular. Everything on this side is plural. Again, you have to memorize these. If we were in the classroom, I would suggest that you point as you say it, and I would help you memorize them. Unfortunately, I'm not smart enough to figure out how to put a visual with me on here with the chart. So first of all, we have yo, meaning I. This is first person in English, if that makes sense to you. If you go with somebody else, I go to the zoo, that's singular, I go by myself. If I go with someone else, then we go to the zoo. Please note in Spanish you have two choices here, nosotros, nosotras. Nosotros is masculine. Everything in Spanish is either masculine or feminine, every noun. Nosotras is feminine. If we have all girls, we would say nosotras. But male dominates in conversation, and that's only the grammar rules, so don't get heavy on me on that. So if one boy enters the room, we have nosotros. But if we have all boys in the room, nosotros, and one girl enters, it makes no difference. Still nosotros. Let's go further down. To has an accent mark, so I underlined it to draw your attention to that. That's you familiar. There is a difference between you familiar and you formal. You familiar is going to usually be someone your age or younger. You formal is usually going to be someone that you need to just show extra respect to. For example, your boss, the president, anybody that you might consider not really above you in all forms, but somebody who you need to show extra respect to. Sometimes people will use tú with a parent, sometimes they will use usted, and so those things can change up. Please note, tú has an accent mark. There is another word, tú, without an accent mark, and we'll go over that in a minute. Él is he, and él also has an accent mark on it. Double Y here means I'm going to pronounce that like a Y, double L, I said double Y. So ella is she. It, as a subject, does not exist in Spanish, so I have it down here in parentheses. When we move over to this side, tú meant you familiar. So if you had two people that you would call two together, you could call them vosotros or vosotras. But this one is used in Spain. So some textbooks do not teach it. I think it's wiser to use it and not need it than it is to not learn it and then need it later. When you take usted and you make it plural, you just add an es and you have you all formal. Ellos, however, to make it plural, from él you add the los. Ella, you just add s. That keeps these two looking more alike. So if you had a group of people you were saying they, and it were all girls, you would have ellas. But if there's one boy that comes in, ellos. All boys are mixed group, ellos. Now if you have my handouts, looking at the bottom of the page, you're writing down what's the difference between tú and usted. If you're talking to a child, you would normally use tú. If you were talking to the parent of a child you work with, usted is much wiser. And we have, where is vosotros more commonly used? Hopefully you said Spain. Looking at the bottom, tú with an accent mark means you. Tú without an accent mark means your, possessive, like your book. El with an accent mark means he. El without an accent mark means the, masculine. And that is the basics of your subject pronouns in Spanish, you again need to memorize that chart. It'll help you as you learn how to use the others.